He was 10 years old when Nike signed him. 10. Younger than they had ever signed a Brazilian before, younger than Rodrigo, younger than anyone. A boy who had not played a professional minute already had a boot deal. He was in primary school. He had never taken a corner in front of a crowd. And a multinational had already decided he was worth betting on. By 17, he had been sold to Chelsea for a fee that could reach £60 million. And the whole time, one word followed him everywhere. A word that has destroyed better players than him. Messinho. Little Messi. This is the story of Estêvão and the weight of being called the next one. He was born in 2007 in Franca, a small city in the interior of São Paulo state, 4 hours from the coast and a world away from the big clubs. His father Ivo was a pastor and a former goalkeeper, and by every account the reason any of this happened. Franca is a place people leave to find football, not a place scouts drive to. If you are born there with a gift, someone in your family has to decide to move their entire life, or the gift goes nowhere. Because when a boy is that good that early, the danger is not the talent. It is everything around it. Agents, promises, clubs offering things to families with nothing. Ivo took him to every session, watched every game from the stands, and made the decisions himself. At 10, Cruzeiro wanted him. So the whole family, father, mother, sister, packed up and moved 450 kilometers to Belo Horizonte because a 10-year-old cannot go alone. That is the part nobody puts in the highlight reels. 4 people rearranged their lives around a child's feet. His father kept working. His mother kept the house running in a city they did not know. And a 10-year-old went to training every day carrying, whether anyone said it out loud or not, the whole family's bet. The nickname started at Cruzeiro. Left foot, low center of gravity, running at defenders and going past them like they were cones. The videos got out. Messinho, they called him, and in Brazil, that is not a compliment so much as a sentence. The country has handed that kind of name to a dozen boys. Most of them are not playing at the top level today. Being called the next Messi has ended more careers in Brazil than any injury. At 14, he left Cruzeiro for Palmeiras, and there he won everything the youth system had to offer. Under-17 state title. Under-17 national title. Cup after cup, against boys 2 and 3 years older than him. The academy staff talk about it the way people talk about weather events. He simply arrived, and the level of every team he joined went up. He made his first team debut at 16. In a stadium of 40,000 people. At an age when most players are still in school uniforms during the week. And in the season that followed, playing in the Brazilian First Division. Against grown professionals, a 17-year-old scored more league goals than anybody else in the country. Think about how absurd that is. Not the best young player. The best scorer, full stop, in a league of hardened men, while he was still too young to sign his own contract in England. Europe came for him the way Europe always does. Barcelona wanted him. Real Madrid, PSG, half the Premier League. He had grown up saying Barcelona was the dream, and said so publicly more than once. Chelsea got him anyway, agreeing a deal worth up to £60 million when he was still 16 years old. 60 million. For a boy who could not legally drive. And then something unusual happened. He did not leave. The deal was done, the money agreed, and he stayed in Brazil another full year to finish his time at Palmeiras properly. A teenager with a £60 million contract in his pocket, playing out the season for the club that raised him. Most players in that position coast, he did not. He went on to be voted the best player in the Brazilian league that year, on his way out the door. That year he kept scoring, kept carrying a senior team, and kept his feet on the ground in a country that has a long history of eating its own prodigies alive. And then football wrote a scene nobody would have dared put in a script. In the summer of 2025, Palmeiras drew Chelsea in a knockout tie.
the club that had already bought him, against the club that raised him, with him on the pitch. He scored.
Against the team he was about to join, in front of the people who were about to pay for him. He did not celebrate. He arrived in London at 18. New country, new language, a squad full of expensive young attackers, all competing for the same shirt, and a stadium that has run out of patience with wonder kids before. English football is also, physically, a different sport from the Brazilian league. Bigger defenders, faster transitions, less protection from referees for a small winger who runs at people. The first season was what first seasons usually are: flashes. 22 league games, a couple of goals, a couple of assists. Not a disaster, not an explosion. The kind of year that gets a teenager labelled a flop by people who have never adapted to anything. He also scored 3 times in Europe's biggest club competition that season, which is the sort of detail that gets left out when a narrative has already been decided. But then Brazil called him up, and against Chile, he did something that answered a lot of questions at once. A ball looped up in the box, and instead of controlling it, an 18-year-old improvised a bicycle kick from a yard off the goal line. His first international goal. There is a version of this story where that goal is the peak, and everything after is decline. Brazilian football is full of those. Here is what makes his story different from the wonder kids who did not make it. He has never wanted the nickname. He has said, repeatedly and publicly, that he is not Messi, that he wants to be called Estêvão, that the comparison is not his, and he did not ask for it. Brazil has produced a long line of boys who were going to be the next somebody. Some became legends. Many were finished by 23, chewed up by the pressure, the money, the agents, and the weight of a name that was never theirs. The pattern almost never changes. Enormous fee, foreign league, 18 years old, no family nearby, and a press corps that decides within 6 months whether you were worth it. The difference so far is the pastor father who moved a family across a country, who sat in the stands at every game, and who kept the circus at arm's length while his son learned his trade. He is 19 now. Nobody knows how this ends. He might be one of the great players of the next decade, or he might be another cautionary tale in a country full of them. That is the honest answer, and anyone telling you they know already is selling something. But watch him receive the ball on that right wing, drop the shoulder, and go, and you understand why a sportswear company signed a 10-year-old. The talent was never the question. It never is. The question is what a boy does with a name he never chose. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Beyond the Boots for more. The boots tell the story. We just follow the footsteps.